to the International Copyright Summit, First Philippine International Copyright Summit organized by the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines and in partnership with the National Book Development Board. I'm Migs with the Z and Zers, and I'll be your MC for this morning's session. It's day 2, and we take a look at publishing and the visual arts. For our first session, Your Global IP, Filipino Storytelling and the World, we'll focus on how Philippine books are promoted, marketed, and distributed in both local and international markets. We have 3 amazing speakers lined up for you, and it's really an honor for all of us here at MBDB and IPOPhil to talk to Mina Esguerra, Jason Brasileño, and Melvin Chu. So to kick things off, let me introduce our first panelist. She writes and publishes romance novels. Her young adult fantasy trilogy, Interim Goddess of a Love, is a college love story featuring gods from Philippine mythology. Some of her contemporary romance novellas won the Filipino Reader's Choice Awards for Chick Lit in 2012 with Fairy Tale Fail, and 2013 for That Kind of Guy. In 2013, she founded #RomanceClass, a community of Filipino authors of romance in English, and it has since helped over 80 authors write and publish over 100 books. She's also a media adaptation agent, working with LA-based Bold MP to develop romance media by Filipino creatives for an international audience. Please welcome to the first Philippine International Copyright Summit stage, Mina Esguerra.
Thank you for joining us for the book launch. Let us now give our full attention to Miss Mina Esguerra, author and self-publisher, as she talks about the rise of ebook and its online sales.
Hi everyone, thank you for that introduction, Migs, and thank you to IPO Philippines and NBDB for inviting me to talk about ebook and selling our ebooks online. So I will be telling you a story, and I will be sharing my screen to do that. Is it okay if I can share my screen? So I'm requesting that the host allow me to share my screen. Thank you. All right. Okay. So as part of this panel, I will share our romance authors' adventures in digital publishing. Hello, my name is Mina Esguerra, and I am a romance author and publisher based in Manila, Philippines. I have written and published 26 romance novellas. My 27th book is called Your Place Next Year, and it releases on Amazon and all digital retailers on November 26, Friday. My books have been available as ebooks since 2010, and I've been producing audio editions since 2018. Both ebooks and audio are digital products distributed digitally. I will be sharing my perspective as an author and publisher of romance in English who founded a community of Filipino romance authors and now represents this community as a media adaptation agent. I'm being specific because not everything that has worked for me will work for another genre or type of book, but some things will still apply. Let's begin with the guide questions that I was given. What is the extent of your online promotion and marketing in both the local and international market? How are your sales on online platforms? It's only the first topic, and I already have to bring out my disclaimer that what I do is not necessarily what you have to do or what other people are doing. As an author, there are advertising opportunities for you. You can take out ads in bookish websites, sponsor podcasts, sponsor a book club, pay for a targeted ad on Facebook. I tried a few of these once or twice when I was starting out and quickly stopped because I soon realized that when your books are unlike the mainstream bestsellers, you will waste a lot of money paying for ads that are shown to an audience only expecting mainstream bestsellers. So I changed direction and took the time to find out who was looking for books like mine and where they were, not just in the Philippines, but in the world. Romance Class is the community that I founded in 2013. We've since helped over 80 authors publish over 100 books, and based on an online Twitter survey that's still ongoing, we have readers in at least 23 countries. Based on the searchable library catalogs on worldcat.org, these are the libraries that have my books. I should mention that building a community and discovering your readership doesn't make for the best business plan, but writing and making and selling books as a community can show you what works, what doesn't work, and you can learn from the experience of other authors with books like yours. I write a very specific genre and type of book and have been welcomed in these places by these readers. I like to show these maps to fellow creators because if you're ever worried about who wants a book by a Filipino author, I say these people in these places. I've seen readers talk about our books in Brazil, Chile, Trinidad, Spain, also Tacloban, Iloilo, Tawi-Tawi, libraries in cities like Queens, New York, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Denver, Colorado. The library that actually has the most number of my books that I've written is the Public Library in Boston. You never really know this until you get the data. This is only possible because my books are digital, distributed online, and have an internet footprint that shows an engaged and organic readership. Online advertising is available, but expensive, and the kind of readers I'm looking for actually do not respond to online advertising. In this corner of the market, we rely on trusted reader recommendations. Library acquisitions are influenced by patron requests and credible reviews. This is more of a community building than promotion and marketing. If an audience is resistant, we move on very quickly to a more welcoming one. And the world is large. I'm aware that Philippine publishers say they don't earn from digital books or they actually don't have to say it. I can look at their books ranking on Amazon and tell whether they sold a book this month or not. It truly is a different marketplace when distribution is instant and worldwide. Books that failed in local bookstores because of supply and distribution problems could have had better lives in the digital space. But we need to be honest about the supply and digital problems to find a digital strategy that fits. Did we actually read the book? Do we know who is the audience for it? These books could still do well today. Every day that they're not yet accessible, opportunities to reach people are being lost. Maybe in 2021, the conversation we can have is not whether print is better, but instead, why are we failing our authors and readers? Why are our books not in ebook and print and audio simultaneously yet? Why can't readers anywhere in the world who want them easily get them? And why are authors living under the impression that what we create has no financial value? In 2010, when I was starting out on digital, the Philippine publishing industry that I encountered was mostly people who preferred print and did not buy or read digital books from authorized retailers. That meant it was an industry mostly of professionals who never understood digital books. And it showed in which books were not in the largest retailers, in the approach to promotion or lack thereof, and what the books looked like when you actually bought one and tried to read it. I hope that in 2021 things have changed. If you're only starting to consider digital for your books now, here are some tips. If you're an author, install the Amazon Kindle app on your iOS or Android device and explore the books that are the same genre as yours. On any given day, there are thousands of books that are free. Next, move on to the non-free. Buy and read more books, books by Filipino authors in the genre that you plan to write and publish in. Pay attention to the Amazon rankings, to the covers that catch your eye, to the reading experience when you read the ebook on the app. Pay attention to price points and reviews on Amazon and Goodreads and book blogs and YouTube and TikTok. If you are a publisher and you have staff, give your staff Kindles and tablets. Require anyone doing cover design and layout and editing and social media to read and buy widely in that genre. Give them a budget. Make sure every single person on staff has hours and hours of experience so that when they work on a project, they're going by data and experience instead of personal taste. And if they have excellent taste on top of relevant experience, that they are compensated well for it. So, moving. Based on knowing where my buyers and readers are. My books are distributed in order of importance to me on Amazon and then everywhere else. My internet presence in order of importance to me, Twitter, my email newsletter, my own website, minaviascara.com, Wattpad, and then others. As authors, we don't have to be on every retailer and social media site. Personally, I prioritize and am most active only in certain places. As an example, I'll share this romance class ebook anthology we released in February 2021 as a fundraising project. We promoted this on our social media and were able to raise over 80,000 pesos that we donated in full to 3 beneficiary organizations. Most of our purchases are from buyers in the Philippines and the United States. I will leave this up for a little bit so you can see how each internet place performed in terms of sales conversion. And it is a conversation starter in a lot of ways, but I want to talk about how insignificant Facebook has been for legitimate digital sales for us, because this is a huge part of the question of how Filipino creators can earn from digital. You would think that the social media space, where the friends, family, and Philippine publishing industry colleagues of Filipino authors would be the place that contributes the most to this sales conversion chart, but it doesn't. It's not the highest in terms of views or clicks either. If we want to normalize the idea that ebook sales is something we can earn from, a lot of things have to change. On to the next topic. How do you maximize the value of your published books? What are the challenges in terms of copyright and or ebook piracy? Let's get the piracy issue out of the way. I'm glad IPO is here and they may be more qualified to answer some questions about that. But personally, I'm focusing more on access for readers and protection for creators. As someone who gives publishing advice, yes, I've met people who are so afraid of piracy that they never make a digital edition available. That also means their books are now inaccessible and can only reach a large number of people if many, many books are printed and distributed. And most of us can't afford that. If for you as an author, the fear of going digital is about the fear of being pirated, my advice is to shift your thinking and prioritize what readers need instead. What do they need? Is it a cheaper book, an easier format, an app, a translation? If we believe that what we write is important, then we focus on the readers, the people we claim to have written this for. There is also the kind of piracy where Filipinos are selling EPUBs online for 5 pesos or 10 pesos. And when I see those, I report them. It's a headache to do, and I hope Filipino creators are protected by the industry so that we don't have to worry about reporting every single instance of this ourselves. I want to spend my time writing and creating and engaging happily with readers rather than reporting them for IP violations. Ultimately, this is my own personal position on piracy and what to do with it. It should be something that our publishers and retail partners and policymakers protect us from if it does threaten our livelihood and theirs. On maximizing the value of my books. In 2019, Romance Class did an author branding workshop with Maloy Loakian, and I came out of it realizing that I needed to find goals for my books beyond the publishing of them. Publishing to the world is actually so easy right now, but the next step was recognizing the value of what I had published and what my writing community had published and identifying where else we could thrive. Next topic was what are the usual inquiries with regard to rights and what are the agreements among publishers, authors, and or translators on ebook distribution and sales. Again, based on my own experience and what I learned from others in my writing community, I've developed a wish list for if I'm to work with another publisher. These include a competitive advance or signing bonus, prompt reporting and payment of royalties, a marketing plan, production quality, and that includes knowing when to work with Filipino creatives like editors, cover models, illustrators, narrators. As a result, I do not currently work with an international publisher, but others in my author community do, and I consider them successful. But you also have to decide as an author what kind of success you're aiming for. There may be some compromises along the way. If you want to know what our current issues are, for those who are already online and digital, we actually need more accessibility of our digital books for the disabled. We're trying to produce more audio editions and podcast versions because podcasts are free. We're helping each other evaluate offers from web novel apps, game apps, and other media, trying to adapt our books. We're exploring alternatives to Amazon because Amazon is selective about the languages it chooses to publish. Digital for us already means audio, apps, visual novels, interactive stories, games, and streaming video. It is a wide world, and we're concerned about a lot of things. Next question I was given: how is your experience as a media adaptation agent? What romance books have been adapted for an international audience? In 2020, Romance Class and Bold MP, a management and production company based in LA, formed a partnership to represent over 100 books by Filipino romance authors. This started because one of Bold MP's founders was on a flight and looked on Amazon for a book to read and found and enjoyed one of my books. What I do in this partnership is represent these books and authors in meetings and pitches, or make sure that at any time our team has the information they need to talk about the book. As it is, there are many events and chances to pitch and sell our IP, but that's not my only goal. I'm very invested in these stories, and I want the best for these authors. The books were created with specific principles in mind. We're writing romance where Filipino characters have agency, and consent in relationships is important. The way that as a writing community we focused on the writing, the story, and doing justice to our characters and readers has been so helpful now that we are creating pitches for these stories in other media. These are books that have value already as they are as authors, as books. And if you're an author, my main advice would be to work on your book, make it the best that it can be clear about what it stands for and how it stands out against more than 5 million books currently on Amazon, and then make sure that readers have access to it anytime from anywhere. The next step is that we need more opportunities to connect our creators to trusted representation so that our work can expand to other media and that we will also be valued as authors. I have not answered that second question because I can't talk about it yet, but we do have several projects in various stages of development, and I hope I can talk about them soon. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. And if you have questions, this is how you can contact me, and you can also leave a question in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mina. And of course, yes, we have a little open forum a little bit later on. So again, if you have questions for you can put them in the chat box here. We'll try to make sure that we get those questions for you. But Mina, before you go, before we go on to our next panelist here, I got a question. You talked about some of your current concerns like accessibility. Now, we know movies, you know, they've been adapted from books. Are you having that same difficulty from going from print to audio as you make your material more accessible? Like when you're talking about podcasts?
Yes, it's actually exciting. There's a lot of things that I'm learning. For example, I never really thought of how my characters sounded until somebody had to read the entire thing. And suddenly we're thinking about accents, we're thinking about how people, we're thinking about their background, why would they speak a certain way, how do they speak, is this a romantic lead kind of voice? Now we're having all of that, but actually it's great that we started doing it because suddenly we were making our books available to more people that way. And I'm glad that I mean, it's a lot of work, but I'm glad that we're starting to do it.
Oh, I can tell you, it's a lot of work to do audiobooks. You know, especially, you know, because I mean, like I said, I do audiobooks as well. So, you know, when you're saying what is the character supposed to sound like, you know, you take a look at the brief, you take a look at the story, saying, okay, I've got to put on like a country accent for this one here. But I mean, I think that's the beauty of it, making your words come to life, and you know, that's also another part of the creative process there. So again, thank you so much, Mina, and of course, we'll talk to you a little bit later.
Thank you.
Now, our next panelist is the head for business and enterprise risk at Lazada, the leading e-commerce platform in Southeast Asia. He's an experienced risk management professional with a demonstrated history of working in the manufacturing, chemical industry, food, holdings, banking, utilities, and corporate services. At this time, please welcome Jason Brasileño.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you.
For our
Thank you
next
for that
session,
introduction,
learn about the
Migs.
state of books and e-commerce.
looks
Ladies
like we-
and gentlemen, let us all welcome Mr. Jason Brasileño from Lazada, Philippines. Gain insights on the performance of books in one of Southeast Asia's leading e-commerce platforms.
All
Take it away, Jason.
thank you, and good morning again, everyone. I do hope you can hear me. So allow me to present from my end. So hang on. Can hold on for a bit. Can I share this? Okay. Sorry, I think I'm having issues presenting from my end.
No worries.
Migs, can you flash from the presentation?
Let's see if we can get that. Let's see if we can get that from there. So again, if we can have somebody from our tech team to help out Jason here, just to help him share screen while we're trying to get that fixed there again. So for those of you that are just joining us, welcome again to day 2. This is the first Philippine International Copyright Summit organized by the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines and in partnership with the National Book Development Board. Now we are talking today about your global IP, Filipino storytelling and the world, where we'll focus on how Philippine books are promoted, marketed, and distributed in both local and international markets. So we have Jason Brasileño with us from Lazada. How are we doing over there? We have your share screen all set?
There.
There you go.
All right.
All right, Jason, take it away.
Okay, so let me start with. All right. So again, good morning. So I'd like to talk and do my presentation in a form of a story and somehow walk you through on how Lazada evolved, coming from this context or scenario where we're in right now, the current pandemic, and how it has evolved to the e-commerce that it is right now. So the Philippines has changed a lot in terms of how Filipinos particularly have gone into their shoppings. This pandemic definitely has affected a lot of the way we do things, and one of that is how we do our shopping, how we buy things. We used to prefer buying things physical stores, but now more and more we have shifted to the online way of doing things. In fact, more than half of Filipinos are already on online shopping. And this pandemic alone, we have seen an increase that not just only twice, but more than 300% of people shifting into online shopping. Having said that, we at Lazada has also accelerated the way we do e-commerce like never before. In fact, looking at our sales, looking at the traffic that we have right now, daily sales prior to COVID and right now, we're seeing twice or 2.5x of what we're doing. And these are data we had from last year. Twice on the buyers' growth and buyers joining the platform, and even digital payments. So you can see that everything has translated more of a positive for online marketing and e-commerce in particular. So we have seen an increase in our business as well. So what did we do to respond to the changing consumer needs? Because we want to keep up with you, and we want to make sure that we provide a venue so that any seller can be able to reach their targeted buyers. So Lazada has responded to this through elevating the e-commerce experience. So there are three things I'd like to share here. One is how we drove market awareness and development. Second is on enriching and entertaining experiences, increasing the user experience. And lastly, and this is more app or more in practical terms, how do we establish consumer trust? How do we ensure that we continue to be a trusted platform? The first one on driving market awareness and development. We have also ramped up our onboarding and brought more business online. In fact, you can also see here that there are 3 times daily sellers being onboarded previous to pre-COVID. And this results to around 120,000 monthly active sellers for Lazada. Linking it now to literature, especially to books, we have seen an increase of sellers onboarding various kinds of books. So to name a few, we see children's books, literature, self-help, teens, comics, religious books even, and business books. And now we also see reviewers, textbooks getting onboarded. For opportunities, we still see a lot of opportunities on the comic books segment. This is where we have increasing demand from hobbyists and they're looking for more assortment. At the same time, as we are still trying to shift into the new normal, we see also a demand for business books and even textbooks, the ones that we use in school, especially for high school and colleges. And lastly, as I mentioned earlier, exam reviewers, which is something a sign of changes that's happening with our current situation. In addition, Lazada has also onboarded more local and international brands. And to name a few, you can see it from the screen, sharing here. And that also means protecting the brands that we have on the platform. We have pioneered even the presence of virtual malls in the country, wherein our last mall in particular, having a portfolio of around 8,000 local and international brands. So we are able to bridge that brand even in the international market to the local markets here in Philippines. So as we onboard brands, we have also expanded the product categories. Now you see Lazada Fresh. It's like doing your own groceries using Lazada or even Lazada Medicine, looking at your vitamins and health essentials. And we have launched this since October, focusing first on those that are allowed to be sold online, of course, with proper compliances, but at the same time, bridging so that you don't go out anymore to buy your necessities.
Jason,
Yep.
sorry to interrupt you. Your presentation, people are looking for it right now. I think we're still on your main page right here, so I guess you might have to switch into
All right.
player mode. Yes, and just expand that. Probably go and expand it just a little bit there. Sorry to interrupt you. A lot of
Sure.
people are trying to
No
figure out
worries.
exactly what you're talking about here, and so I'll leave it back to
Yeah,
you. Thank you,
thank you
Jason.
for that. Yeah, thank you for that. It do happen sometimes. So going back, let me. So as I mentioned, this is the slide I was talking about. So we have expanded our product categories. We have introduced Lazada Fresh. This is your frozen and fresh goods delivered to your doorsteps, as well as Lazada Medicine. So these are your vitamins and health essentials. At the same time, we have also driven market awareness and development through our slogan, Nasa Lazada Yan. And in fact, not sure if you can hear the sound here, but this is one of the things that you see. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this ad that we had launched early part of this year and started last year. So our message here is that if it can be sold and if it can be allowed to be sold online, then nasa Lazada yan. In the same time, as we also look at awareness and development, we also would like to drive consumer education on e-commerce relevance. I think this is one thing that we as Filipinos are still in the infancy period or even towards the toddler stage. This is where we'd like to educate our people that e-commerce is here and you can use this through simple steps and it makes things easier for you. Find things that you are looking for, be able to locate them, open your using the app, go to the search bar, and even with a simple search keywords, you'll be able to locate things that that you would like to buy. We have also amplified our presence on social media through data, humor, and context. And we try to use this to further educate and develop awareness, and at the same time promote how using keywords to feature relevant assortment can be used by the right audience and the right channel. As we drive market awareness and development, we have also highlighted personalization and search. So you've noticed that each time you open your app, it's different. So if you're the type of person that normally browses for books, then the next time that you open your app, most of your assortment that would come to you would be your textbooks or your books. And the algo learns. And this is where we try to make the experience more personalized and even your search more personalized, in the sense that it becomes customized based on your search and buying behavior, but also looking at it in being able to optimize and try to somehow have a predictive output of what you'd like to look into or to look for rather. To make things more enjoyable and at the same time to create a better buyer and seller experience, we have also invested in our daily free shipping for consumers. Meaning to say, we have our coupons or vouchers that would allow you to get discounts or even get free shipping for certain purchases, as long as as they are able to be included in the promo. This is something that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar, the double-digit campaigns, and we have just recently concluded our latest double-digit campaign, 11/11. 12/12 is coming up very soon, and we do hope that this has increased a top-of-mind awareness for Lazada and e-commerce in particular, that each time there's a double-digit, people look forward to it. And this is also a good time for publishers and even sellers to be able to put forward your products. We've talked about market awareness and development. Now, I'd like you to move into how Lazada tries to enrich and entertain our customers through an entertaining experience. So, in Lazada app, you don't only look at the things that you'd like to buy, but also you get to see live streams. We do have sellers, brands, or even entertainers doing live streams on a regular basis. And this is our way of making that experience holistic. Meaning to say, you don't only shop, but also you get that feel of being able to get entertainment as well. We also engage our consumers through mega campaign gala shows. So one of the things that really struck me, because this was the first mega campaign that I really worked with the team upon joining Lazada, was the super party we had with Katy Perry during the birthday of Lazada. So it was something else as an experience to be able to see a free concert online and really focus on consumers or the buyers of Lazada in celebration of the birthday. Further to this, we have also empowered brands to connect to consumers in real time. So it's not only allowing brands to onboard their products, but at the same time, we give them space and venue to also connect to consumers and to further educate them. Educate them on the different specs or uses of their brands, educate them on upcoming sales, how to take advantage of it, what's new in the market, and whatnot. So, for example, take the case of Dyson. Dyson is one of our bigger brands. So even during 9/9, we were able to record around 50,000 customers doing views on their live stream. And on a regular basis, on an average, we don't normally get 3,000 sellers using our live stream feature. In addition to live streams, we have also pioneered the online-to-online engagement on top-rated TV shows. So, we are currently with partnership with Itbulaga, GMA, and one of the key things that we have pioneered with them is to also give back to our customers. And one of this is the Lazada Millionaire Initiative. Customers can join through collecting raffle entries on the app, and they get the chance to be featured on Itbulaga during those draw nights. Normally, this happens on mega campaigns, the double-digit campaigns. And to share up to date, we have already had 6 millionaires who won in the show. We have also partnered with Miss Universe to drive fan engagement, even using the app to vote for your contestants and do an exclusive streaming of the preliminary competition on Lazada Live or Last Live. So this was all the initiatives that we've done to enrich and to make sure that the experience is entertaining. But I think the third topic that I'll also be discussing here is how do we now establish trust? So as a seller, as a buyer, I think this is one thing that is very important to make sure that when you use the platform, there's a semblance of trust, there's a semblance of security. We tried to build trust through awareness through Sure Ka sa Lazada campaign. We wanted to make the customer, both buyer and seller, feel safe in shopping online using Lazada. And we have various programs to support this. Sure Ka sa Lazada would cover legit sa last mall, easy refund when you would like to return and request for refund. We even have live seller chats to make the experience and more meaningful and help you with your concerns, safe payments, customer support, and even credible ratings and reviews. In able to provide access to safe and secure payment options, we have partnered with various payment providers through credit card, through our wallet, and even moving beyond that, as we partner with them for payment purposes, we also partner with them for promotions. And this is where you get also your additional discounts using your various credit cards. So even in Lazada, you also get to see various payment options. You can do COD, you can do wallet payment via cash in, you can even use your credit card direct or your debit card. We have also highlighted a robust customer service channel. So you have a 24/7 customer care through Clio, our chatbot, which has different features, and you can utilize these various features to query or to even get help with your different concerns. We also have direct seller-buyer communication through our chat through seller. This way, you can also interact with the seller, ask them your concerns, your questions, get clarity on certain products, or even get updates from them. We have also amplified this in social media, and we have engaged social media through our seller communication and buyer education in terms of how does it mean to shop safely in Lazada, how does it mean to be sure ka sa Lazada, and even various initiatives. We have also drove the awareness and engagement through our influencers. So we have various influencers to help us send the message across to our multiple customer network. And at the same time, I think in terms of brand protection and IPR, Lazada has its own intellectual property rights infringement policy. What we'd like to say here is that Lazada protects your IP rights as users, including your trademarks, your copyrights, patents, and design rights. In fact, we have even signed an MOU with IPO Philippines, along with the other brands, to ensure and to show our commitment to safeguarding your IPRs. We have also our own takedown request via two venues, which is through our own IPP portal and the trust form through lazada.com. At the same time, Lazada does not accept reports concerning potential violations of distribution agreements. Rather, what we'd like to focus more is how do we protect your brand? How do we protect your IP in general? So to make this more easy onboarding, we have, through our mother company, Alibaba Group, we have our own IP portal wherein each IP owner can onboard. They can upload their own documents here, and this would make it easier for them eventually to file or even ask for us to act on infringements against their IP. There are readily available self-help materials as well, so that the user interface is also easy to go along and easy to understand. How can I onboard? How can I be included in the IPP portal? And this makes also our response faster once you're onboarded on the IPP platform. To note, Lazada operates on a notice and takedown mechanism. Meaning to say, as IP owners, we only act on it when there's a complaint and it has been brought to our attention. So it's either filing through the IPP portal or through the trust form. So to end, I'd like to also share that not only we ensure trust and safety, but we also recognize opportunity and responsibility to give back to the community. To name a few, Lazada's even offered seller support programs, especially for our SMEs, which I'll discuss in the next slide. We have helped MSMEs bounce back by stimulating demand, at the same time making seller-friendly policies for them. We have also partnered with DTI as well as with other organizations to empower small businesses to go and grow online. And this is something that we continue to do even up to date. We have also enabled digital donations, and this is a big help to all those non-government organizations who are into wanting to help other people. So as to date, we have raised around 40 million plus for 25 NGOs, and this continues to grow daily through the use of the app. We have also used our platform to supply essentials to vulnerable communities nationwide, and even donated essentials, food packs, and even PPEs to our partner communities, not just here in Luzon, but also across the country in Visayas and Mindanao. So as to end, I'd like to say this, that Lazada continues to adapt and evolve to the changing market and elevate the e-commerce experience. We have onboarded more business and we have drove consumer awareness. But at the same time, we have also set it as a message that what they're looking for, they can find it in Lazada. We have continued enriching customer experience as well as consumer experience by providing them with entertainment on and off platform. And lastly, especially with my role, we have established Lazada as a platform that consumers can trust, a platform that gives back to its stakeholders and to the community in general. So with that, I thank you, and I'll end my presentation here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jason. Now, Jason, before you go, again, for those of you that are out there in our Zoom or on our chat box, whatever, if you have questions for any of our panelists, please put them in the chat box section. We'll try to address them a little bit later during an open forum. But Jason, before you go, you guys have turned the in-person mall experience into a digital experience. Now, when it comes to books, you know, people like to browse around, walk around like the bookstore, you know, pick things up with their hands and, you know, flip through them. Now, on Lazada or any of the platform or some of the platforms, is there a certain section for people to find books? Because I know that you had mentioned earlier about people were trying to get what is this here? They were trying to get business books and textbooks, especially exam reviewers. Now, is there a certain section on your app or that people can look for so they can find certain books? And if they're not available, how do they go about it? I guess this is for like those publishers that are looking to also sell on your platform.
All right. Thank you for that, Mig. So let's answer the first question. So for consumers, especially the buyers of books, what they can do is they can go through the different product images that our sellers would upload. So you can start first by using the search. Type in or key in the specific keywords that you're looking for, especially like books, for example, or even a seller that you have known that's on the platform. This would also go back to the sellers on how they design and upload their products. Some sellers would upload snippets of the pages of their book so that people can browse on it, from the cover to key pages and whatnot. And this would help the buyer in terms of experience. But at the same time, what we can also help with is to have live streams of sellers, especially when they would like to do some book launches or promote books. You can use the live stream function of the app as sellers. And that way you can have more reach to our buyers in particular. Now, for those sellers or publishers wanting to onboard on Lazada, it's very easy. All you need to do is download the app or log in through the app or create an account rather through the app. It's either through your app or through the website. And from there, you just show us a government ID and we can get you started. We can even help you get on board through our seller development or business development team if you want to grow your store, teach you how to do assortment, how to design your store and get maximum visibility, so to speak. So those things are available, and we do have programs to help sellers on board and how to continue selling in Lazada.
Thank you so much for that insight, Jason. And again, if you guys have questions for Jason or any of our other panelists, please put them in the chat section and we will address those hopefully in our open forum. Now, our final panelist is the Assistant Honorary Secretary General of the Singapore Book Publisher Association and also the advisor to the Singapore Book Council. He is currently the Executive Director of Alchem, one of the leading print distributors and ebook aggregators in Southeast Asia, with a record of fulfilling more than 15 million print and 4 million ebooks in a single year. So at this time, please welcome Melvin Chu.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Let me just share my screen first. Okay. Just one moment. It looks like I'm having a bit of technical problem here.
No worries, Melvin. While we get you all settled there, again, for those of you that are just joining us here, good morning and welcome to the first Philippine International Copyright Summit organized by the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines and in partnership with the National Book Development Board. It's day 2 here and we are talking about publishing and the visual arts, and our session today is called Your Global IP, Filipino Storytelling and the World, where we are focusing on Philippine books that are promoted, marketed, and distributed in both local and international markets. So at this time, I think you're all set there, Melvin?
Yes, I am.
All right. So please welcome Melvin Chu.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm just here to share a bit about the digital trends and subscription services and about protecting copyright. Just to share what our company has been doing over the last few years. We are actually originally a print book distributors, and currently we are now also an ebook aggregator, and as shared by the MC earlier on, we distribute about 4 million ebooks in a single year. So what is actually Alchem or Alchem Digital? We are actually an integrated platform of ebooks and multimedia resources, and what we do is we secure, integrate, and fulfill ebooks. And just to share what where we are now, these are some of the clients that has been using our platform, mostly from the library systems. This is the Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. This is Singapore Polytechnic Library. This is Temasek Polytechnic in Singapore. And we come to Philippines, we have Rizal Library, we have UST, you have University of Baguio, etc. We just signed on board. This one new client is Manila Adventist College. This is the Kuala Lumpur Public Library in Malaysia, the Malaysian National Library, and this is from the university, the Malaysian National Defense University. And on top of that, we also do B2C e-commerce. We have our own platform. This is a Filipino titles that you can purchase on our platform. Our partners also sell their the ebooks that's fulfilled from us on their own platform. So in this case, we have Arthur de Manila University Press, who's selling on Lazada. This is Times Experience in Singapore, selling the ebooks that's fulfilled from us. And on top of that, we also have what we call an A-text integration. A-text integration is very uniquely only for textbooks where people can just redeem it. And we also integrate with Google Canvas and all the different kind of LMS system, from Blackboard to Evolve, etc. So this is one of our latest deployment with the Singapore University of Social Science. So the entire university they are accessing their e-textbook through our platform which is fully integrated with their learning management system. So just to share with everybody, I think everybody by now know what is an ebook. Ebooks, an electronic version of a printed book that can be read on a computer or a specifically designed handheld device. So I think by now everybody's familiar with an ebook. But just to share also, we don't provide a conversion service. Why we don't provide a conversion service? A lot of publishers have been coming to us, a lot of authors have been coming to us. Melvin, could you please provide a conversion service? I need to convert my print book into an ebook. We do not do that because you actually have it right, the tools right in front of you. Most of the publishers are using InDesign or any other software. You can actually, I think a lot of people are not aware, you can save the e-file as PDF or EPUB. So once you save as EPUB, in theory, you already have an e-file that is predominantly used by any ebook reader. So what I recommend is don't waste money doing conversion unless you have the print that you need to convert to electronic, or you still have the films that we have used in the printers 20, 30 years ago. You need a professional conversion company. So what do we have here? We have here a platform that allows users to read the ebook online, to download the ebook, and they can also read the ebook offline, access from desktop and mobile devices. Very uniquely, you can actually, for libraries, you can also access all the reports and easy integration with the library. So what we provide here for the libraries is that we actually provide a single copy, single access system, mostly perpetual services, both content and overseas, both local and overseas content, and we provide local technical support. So if you need any support, we do provide support in English, Mandarin, Malay, Tagalog, Cantonese, other dialects in this region. So in short, I'm just going to summarize, what do we provide here? We provide here a security service. We provide something called digital rights management. What is digital rights management? It's basically a system that actually controls your e-file so that people cannot just copy and abuse your e-file. I think everybody knows that once you have something in an e-file, whether it's a Microsoft Word or PDF, you can share it very easily through Viber, you can share it through an email, you can share it through Facebook, and the moment you share it, your content may be compromised. So that's why we need something called a digital rights management to provide this security. We also provide fulfillment services, either through access codes or integration services. We also provide hosting services. We host our ebooks on 3 different servers, including AWS that's based in Singapore, the Amazon Singapore service. So we ensure that you have less bandwidth issues when you access it from Manila. We also market your ebooks. And lastly, we also provide something called library loan services for the libraries. So this is how our system looks like when you access it. Okay, so the first thing you need is when you choose a book that you want to read, you can see the bibliographic information, you can see the title itself, and then you can click something called Read Online. This is basically like when you're in a library, a physical library, you go around browsing the books. You can, before you borrow the book, you actually hold the book and you browse it. So for an ebook, in the library system, you can browse the ebook first before deciding to check out or loan the ebook. So that is a function of the Read Online. And after that, when you decide to loan out the book, you can go to the library system and loan out. First of all, you have to have an app. We support apps from iOS, Android, Windows, etc. We use Adobe Digital Edition as our DRM. What will happen is you decide you want to read this book. You're going to click the word checkout, and then the book will be automatically downloaded into your device. After the ebook has been downloaded in your device, you can basically off your internet, and the book resides into your platform or your device. This is very good, especially in Philippines, where we have a lot of natural disasters like typhoons. So when there's no internet, you can still read your ebooks. If you go back to a province where internet connectivity is an issue, not an issue, you can also access it because the book is already downloaded offline, so you can read it offline at your device anytime you want. So you can read the ebook just like any ebooks. All the things that you expect of an ebook, where there's a highlight, where there's a bookmark, whatever you can do on the print book, you can also do it on the app itself. Okay. And on top of that, for the library settings, there will be also something you need where you can actually have a reservation. So if a book is being loaned, just like a physical book, when one copy is being loaned out, you may have to wait for the book to be returned before the next user is available. But what happens after that is you can actually do something called a reservation. So when you click on the reservation here, you can click a reservation, and we'll also tell you when the books will be next available. You just have to key in your email and click I'm not a robot, and just click submit, and you're then put on a reservation for the next book. So this screen shows you that you're next in queue, your whole position is 1 of 1, and when the book is available, the system will send you an email automatically where you can redeem within 24 hours. If you don't redeem within 24 hours, it will return back to general circulation in the library. So during this pandemic, a lot of publishers approached me, especially some Philippine publishers. They were asking me for help. I think this pandemic, everybody caught off guard, and they were asking me, Melvin, how do we deploy an ebook? And what they were actually initially expecting. First of all the publishers that I spoke to, they were expecting the bell and whistle. They're expecting the interactive. They're expecting sound. They're going to expect the animation, etc. And the next thing they're expecting is they're expecting Mura services. They're expecting that all ebooks conversion service to be very cheap or free, matter of fact. And not only that, publishers were focused on too much on ebook creation. They've neglected two important things. One is fulfillment. How do we deliver ebook from one point to the other point? And the next important thing is security. And on the other side, where I deliver a lot to the libraries, what are the libraries expecting? First thing is the libraries are also expecting Mura or free. They expect all the ebooks to be as cheap as possible. Sometimes you go to Amazon, you can see books for 99 cents. So in this case, they're expecting us to sell for 9 pesos or even free. Next thing is libraries are expecting something called unlimited access. When you buy one copy, anybody in the whole institution can access it all the time. And third is they're expecting perpetual access. Just like a print book, they're hoping that when they buy a copy, the book can be on their shelf for eternity. And lastly, they're expecting loans, reservation, and reporting system, which most platforms do not have at this moment of time. But there are also other considerations when you want to deploy an ebook to the libraries. First of all, ease of deployment. Can you set up that ebook systems within a short period of time? So let me share a story. One of Filipino textbook publisher who approached me. Beforehand, they actually approached some American, some Indian ebook conversion services. They got some quotes, and they realized that, number one, the cost of doing the ebook was too expensive. It ranged in 7 digits, it's 1 million pesos and above. Second thing, it takes time for them to create an ebook, it takes them 3 to 4 months, and the school is going to start within 1 month. So they do not have enough time to create that ebook. Now, one of the reasons why the cost of creating certain ebooks are expensive is because of the animation. So for us, we create what we call a static kind of ebook. So it's easy to deploy. We managed to deploy for the publishers, the textbooks for grade schools within 48 hours at zero cost. So we're able to create it into an ebook with a digital rights management system and do the fulfillment of the systems integrated with what they have at this moment. Second thing, we need to know the reporting. Publishers are very, very concerned. How many copies are actually being sold? How many users are reading it? These are very, very important because this will allow the publishers to make the necessary judgment on what to do next. These type of data are very, very critical. Third, ease of procurement. Some libraries cannot just use a credit card, go online, and buy the ebooks. They can't. They may have a credit card, but there is certain procurement policies that you have to follow, especially for those state-funded university. Next thing is technical support. You can buy a US book, but you're getting a US technical support, and there is always time difference. And last thing, very important, is funding. So a lot of Filipino libraries, we always have limited funds. So the price must be very, very economical to the libraries. So there's a concern about ebook. When you give out an ebook, is people able to copy and abuse the ebook? During this pandemic, a lot of publishers has been approached by the readers to get their PDF. Now, first thing of all, I want to remind everybody, do not share your PDF. Do not share your native e-file. Once it gets to the end users, things may get out of hand. I've seen so many PDFs circulating because a publisher was being kind, sharing with their friends, and people just keep sharing, and that's where the piracy comes along. Sharing to Viber, sharing to Facebook without the publisher's permission is a copyright violation. So what do we do here in our system? First of all, we control distribution with digital rights management. What is DRM? I just want to stress again, DRM is we control the access, we control the copying, we control the printing, we control the duration of the time of the user accessing the content. And for libraries and institutions, we also control access through single copy, single access, reporting, and user monitoring. So just to show back on the app, when you download the app, reading and materials, what our app does is this. You notice here, there's a book titled Coffee that has the word 3 days. That means you can access the ebook for just 3 days. What happened after 3 days? It becomes expired, as you see on the next title here, expired, and the books will be automatically returned back to the library for circulation. The other thing about how we control is users are able to know that all their ebooks are being controlled by the digital rights management system. And in this case, we show you, for example, this title, Coffee, which I downloaded earlier, is licensed to me. And I can view on any devices till 26th of November, 2021 until 2:54 p.m. So all these are time control. The moment it expired, you are unable to access it anymore. You're not allowed to copy, you're not allowed to print. So if you try to click the word print, it will disable you. We are able even to control to a certain access how many percent that you can print. If a publisher allows you to print 1 page, then we will allow you to print 1 page. We generally recommend publishers to follow the general trends in copyright, where you allow users to print up to 10% only. So same thing with copying. If you want to copy a picture, you want to copy a page on the book, the system is able to control how many percent of the content that you can print. The moment you try to go beyond that, the system will auto-block by itself. And we also control by access for the libraries, for the institution. We control all different kinds of systems from easy proxies, SML, library card, IP, URL authentication. All these are just authentication system that allows us to integrate with the library system or the university learning management system so that we can identify who are the readers. If this university need to do an audit, we know where they're coming from, etc. So all these are making it ease of integration, especially to support something called single sign-on. So you don't have to remember so many username and password. So we also control, as shared earlier, we also control by the name of the number of copies. So every ebook that we go on a loan here, as shown in the screen, number of copies available is 1 out of 1. So if the library wish to purchase more copies, go ahead. If there's a demand for it, go ahead. They can buy 2 copies, means 2 persons can access at any one time. And we also provide reportings, like in this case, we can see that a user named GC Academy has accessed his title at this time. He accessed through whether using a PC or mobile devices, on which date, and we are able to identify his IP address. So all these data are very important for the library also. But then there's also concerns us on why some publishers allow unlimited access and why some library platform allows limited access. So in the library field, sometimes some publishers charge a very exorbitant fees. I've seen some Filipino libraries purchasing ebooks for 1 million pesos, 2 million pesos. The number just keep going up. But why do you pay so much for that? One reason is this. Some publishers do not have digital rights management. They do not know how to do their security or copyright. So what they do is they try to sell the ebooks more expensive. When you buy something for 1 million pesos, the publishers sometimes do not bother that whether you pirate 1 copy, because the university or the library has already purchased a high amount. So in the way the publisher is saying, go ahead. You're going to pirate 1 book or 2 copies, go ahead, because you already paid an exorbitant fees for that. So what do our system do? I'm coming to the end of here is our system protect your ebooks, and we actually have to reduce piracy. But I want to remind everybody, there's no such thing as an unhackable ebook. Any system, whether it's Kindle, can be hacked. But what all the aggregators are doing, whether it's Amazon, Kindle, whether it's Overdrive, whether it's LCAM, what we're doing now is we're making things difficult for hackers, and we update security all the time. So I come to the end of my presentation, and if you'd like to contact me, my contact is on the screen as shown. So I pass back to the MC.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much, Melvin, for your insight there. Before we go, again, if you guys have questions for any of our panelists, please put them in the chat box, and we will try to address them in the open forum that will be happening in just a few minutes. Now, Melvin, you've transformed the in-person library experience into a digital experience, especially with, reserving books. You also gave insight into how consumers can access these materials on your system. But my question for you is, what has the demand been in the past year, especially with online classes?
Well, for us, our demand for ebooks has gone about 3,000% over the last 1 year. So the irony is the demand for print book has also increased. So only the difference is that the demand for print book growth is very little, but the demand for ebook growth is very high.
Great. And of course, I know that there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions, so we want to make sure that we give a little bit of time for our open forum again. So thank you very much, Melvin. We'll get back to you in just a few. Now, if you're just joining us here, again, welcome. Just going to give you a little summary about what happened earlier during our session. So we talked with author and publisher Mina Esguerra. She talked about the rise of Pinoy ebooks and its online sales. She shared a presentation of romance authors' adventures in digital publishing. She gave her
Miss
perspectives on the
Andrea
direction of how
Passion
she
Flores
promoted and marketed herself
and Me
online through
Flores Publishing
trusted reader
Incorporated
recommendations,
for
reviews through
accepting
community
to
building, and
publish
finding a digital strategy
Why
that
Keanu
worked best for
Reeves
her.
is Lonely
She also talked about the
and
community she
Why the
founded,
World
#romance
Goes
class,
On
and gave
As
her
It Has.
recommendations on best ebook retailers and internet places
Publishers
for her.
loathe poetry,
She also touched on some of the
because
challenges she
it
faced in
doesn't
terms
sell,
of copyright and ebook piracy,
which I
and
can
noted
understand.
her brand is building
Publishing
worlds.
being a
But
business.
piracy is a problem, but
As someone
access
said,
is her first
if
priority.
there is no
She
money
also
in
stressed,
poetry,
think of our readers and
there
protect
is no
our.
poetry in money
And then
either.
she ended with talking about her experience with inquiries with regards to rights
I
she
have
gives
been writing
and giving her
poems
wish list,
for
like looking
over
for
50
advance or
years.
bonus,
My
marketing,
output
production
in the
quality.
beginning
Talked
was
with
one
Jason
or
Brasileño,
two
the Chief
poems
Operations
a
Officer.
year. And because I had a family to feed, which made me focus on my law practice,
One
there
second
were
here.
years when I had no poem at all. Still, I was able to publish 3 collections. The third,
If I can get our
a
tech to
hybrid of
just
selected
mute everybody that's
and
in
new
there just for a
poems.
second here. Okay.
I
All right.
consoled myself with a thought
Okay.
that
So,
I would make up
again, we were talking
for
with
the
Mina Esquera.
years
She
of
talked about her
slack
experience with inquiries
when
with
I
regards to
resigned.
rights she gives and gave her wish list, like
Of
looking
my
for
active
advance or bonus,
legal career,
marketing, and production quality.
half of
Then we
it
moved on to
was
Jason Brasileño, the
devoted
Chief
to
Operations
private
Officer
practice
of,
and half
oops,
to the judiciary.
we moved on to Jason, the head for business
6
and
years
enterprise
before my
risk. There you go,
retirement
from
as
Lazada
judge,
Philippines. Oops, sorry
I
about that, Jason. Thank you so
experienced
much for that. I
a
caught that there.
resurgence of inspiration,
He presented the evolution of
mainly
e-commerce
because
and
for
Lazada
6
and how
months
Filipinos have shifted to
I
the
was
online way
under
of doing things,
chemotherapy
especially during the
for
pandemic.
colon
He talked about
cancer,
how Lazada does e-commerce
during
and how
which
they drove market
I
awareness and
busied
development
myself
and
with
established consumer
writing
trust.
poems,
He talked about the
which
demand for
I
business books and
collected
textbooks,
into a
especially
book.
exam reviewers, and
This
about how
set off
driving
a
consumer
spate
education on
of poetic
e-commerce
work,
is relevant.
which
He
at
showed
our
how
this
they
year
amplified on social media
rounded
through data,
praise
humor, and context,
yielded
and
a
personalizing search
total
based
of
on
12
buying behavior.
books.
He also
The
talked about
last
everyone's
one
favorite, the
being the
double-digit
one
campaigns
we are
and their
launching
entertainment
this
side like live
afternoon.
streaming, and ended
Why
about
Keanu
establishing
Reeves
consumer
is
trust
Lonely
through safe and
and
secure
Why the
payment options,
World
customer
Goes
service
On
channels, and other
As It
promotions,
Has.
and how Lazada's intellectual property rights
Oftentimes,
infringement
I
policy
ask
also partnered
myself
with the
what poetry
intellectual
is
property offices
and
of
why
the
I
Philippines
like
and how they
writing
adapted
it.
and evolved to the changing
There is,
market.
of course,
And then we ended
a
with
vast
Melvin
amount of
Chu, the
literature
executive director of
about
Alchem. He talked about subscription service and protecting copyright. He talked about some of the e-resource users and gave an introduction to the Alchem digital library. Talked about their ebook site and how their platform helps provide a single copy, single access system, like security for digital rights management services, fulfillment services like using access codes and integration services, hosting service on different servers, marketing service like promoting ebooks, and loan services like library loan services. He also talked about his experience with Philippines publishers and libraries and gave insight into their digital rights management system through control access, copying, printing, and distribution, and how their system protects your ebooks and reduces piracy. So again, at this time, we are going to call back all of our speakers at this time. So if you'll please join me here, Mina, Jason, and Melvin. Thank you again. So if you guys can unmute there. So, okay. Let's see, we have, all right. We have a lot of different questions here that are coming from our audience. So, and I think we'll just get into it since we just have a couple of minutes here. This is for a question for Jason. Is there a point person in Lazada that they can write or they can write to or be introduced to so they can expand the idea behind the books for selling online via Lazada? Because you mentioned earlier that they just have to type in who the seller is or the name of the book. So I guess some people have been having just a little bit of issues of just trying to find books mainly on Lazada. Is there someone that you can put them in touch with, especially these are for publishers and authors?
Yeah, thank you for that, Mix. Actually, I have replied to Gingging already. I told her to send me an email and then I'll link her from there. We do have a business development team and a seller engagement team that can help on this specific key ask.
Thank you so much. Mina, we have somebody here that asked a question with regards to brand is building worlds. So you've had a chance to showcase Filipino writers here. What is the main when it comes to these romance novels? Like, what happens to be the biggest seller? Like, for those that are trying to write romance novels, aside from the regular Beauty and the Beast type of tale, or my sister, I like my sister's boyfriend, that kind of thing. Like, what happens? What are like some of the main selling topics? Because you said that you found your audience through like the things that they like. So how I guess the question stems from how do they get into that process of figuring out what do people like to read, especially when it comes to romance novels?
So there's actually two ways to answer this. There's the way that a lot of people have been very successful at doing it, which is just look at the top sellers on any given day in a retailer's romance chart, and you can see what's popular, the themes that are hot right now, the tropes that people want to read, and especially the kind of characters they're into. The other way, which is how we're trying to do it, is let's write what we want to see, meaning what's missing. So I've always been writing the kind of books that I've been writing because I like reading romance, but I've never really seen this type of story, for example, with Filipino characters or set in the Philippines. And that's what I've been writing. So that's kind of not exactly the answer that a lot of people are looking for, but what it is really we write the kind of book that we want to see, and then once it's out there, once it's published, we try to find the readers who will relate to it and will say, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been looking for," or "I didn't realize that this is something that that I wanted." And that's why the epiphany I had during a brand workshop was that I'm actually building worlds, because a lot of romance readers go into romance thinking they know the kind of book that they want, but what we're doing is we're creating a world that people probably don't know yet, and when we present that to readers, they'll discover who we are and maybe they can find something new to become their favorite.
Thank you so much, Mina. Then we have a question here for Melvin. Melvin, what can be done further to improve the sale of books in the online market, especially since on your end you deal with a lot of the DRM?
Well, first of all, make things very easy. Don't change how you do things. Work with partners. So in this case, like what we did with some Filipino publishers is we actually provide access code. And once you have access code, if you have for example, you have a store in Lazada, you can just sell it just like how you've been selling your print book. So make it simple and work with your current partners. That's the best way to do it.
Thank you so much, Melvin. And that leads me to our final question for our question and answer. And this is coming from our live stream that you can find on copyrightsummit.asia/live-session-PICS. Is it possible for Lazada to have a section for school or educational books? Sort of special section for teachers and school admins? I guess this is also, this goes on with the question that I asked earlier, because like, again, people are still having trouble trying to find different books, because I guess you have the categories, I guess, home, and then you have, digital, that type of stuff. Is it possible for Lazada to have a section for school and educational books down the line?
Yeah, a quick answer there, Migs, is yes. In fact, this is an opportunity area. I believe I mentioned this earlier, that textbooks is one of those that we're looking into growing and seeing that there's a need, definitely. And best is we can also start this with select sellers. So we can take this off moving forward, but knowing how Lazada is in terms of speed, definitely this is possible.
Thank you so much. So again, that's going to end it for our Q&A section. Again, if you guys have any more questions for any of our panelists, they've given all of their contact information there. And of course, we'll be able to share that with you a little bit later on. So again, thank you to Mina Esguerra, Jason Brasileña, and Melvin Chu, our speakers for today. It was really a pleasure and a great learning experience to have listened to all of you. And of course, we hope that all of our participants enjoyed this session. Now, that concludes our panel titled Your Global IP, Filipino Storytelling and the World. Thank you again to everyone who joined us for this morning's session. But before we end, I would also like to invite you for our next sessions later today. At 1 p.m., we have Shining the Spotlight on the Publishing Industry featuring MBDB Executive Director Charis Aquino Tugade with Kevin Ansel D and Kira Ballesteros. And then 4 p.m., We have the independent publishing and self-publishing booming amidst the pandemic, featuring ABC Educational Development Center children's books, Kasing Kasing Press, Aklat Alamid, Indie Publishers Collab PH, and Mill Flores Publishing. So, on that note, it's time to end our session for today. We hope that you guys enjoyed, and again, we'll see you guys a little bit later. Thank you so much.